I give the call to the member for Lalor.
Thank you, Speaker. My question is to the Treasurer. What do Treasury's revised forecasts for the economy mean for the budget, and what are the Albanese Labor government's budget priorities?
I give the call to the Treasurer.
Yeah, thank you very much, Speaker, and to the member for Lalor for her question about the implications of the combination of circumstances we confront in the economy and what that means for the Commonwealth budget. It's true that in recent times the good prices that we've been getting for our commodities on global markets have helped prop up the budget, as have the fact, in the last year at least, that the former government found it very difficult, indeed impossible, to get some of their commitments away. And so that means in the near term there have been some improvements in the budget. But the structural issues that those opposite presided over and made worse over almost a decade in government do constrain the new government's choices as we deal with this combination of challenges. And so what we've said really for some time now is that there is an onus on us to provide genuine value for money, to invest in the future of our economy, to invest in responsible cost of living relief, at the same time as we trim back the legacy of rorts and waste which defined budget policy under those opposite for the best part of a decade. And I listened to the Shadow Treasurer earlier on responding to the statement that I gave to the Parliament. And in that 14 minutes of absolute dribble from the Shadow Treasurer, what I noticed was the fake indignation that we hear from those opposite would be far more convincing if they hadn't been in government for the best part of a decade and created all of the challenges that the new government is now left to deal with, whether it's in water, as the member for Sydney said, or really right across the board. All of these ministers are dealing with a legacy for almost a decade now.
The Treasurer will just cool his jets for a moment. I'll call the Manager of Opposition Business. Manager of Opposition Business, before I call you, just wait till I call you before you start talking, OK? Plenty of time, but I'll give you the call now.
It goes to relevance, Mr Speaker. Again, the question asked about what are the government's economic priorities. We're a minute and a half in, and he spent most of his time criticising the record of the previous government. Seat.
The question was specifically about the revised economic forecasts and what the impacts means for the budget. The Treasurer is in order, and I give him the call.
Look, it may be embarrassing for those opposite, Mr Speaker, to hear, but they want to talk about their record in government, the record that we've inherited, the budget that we've inherited. The truth is that the choices that we make as a new government are constrained by the fact that we've inherited $1 trillion of debt with almost nothing to show for it. And the reason for that is because the Shadow Treasurer and all of these colleagues arraigned before us on the Shadow frontbench, the dregs of the former Liberal government, have left us with these challenges. Whether it's a budget which is chock full of rorts and waste, which the member for Hume knows more about than probably anybody in this parliament, whether it's the fact that we don't have enough to show for this $1 trillion in debt and that every dollar that they borrowed now costs more to service in the budget. The fastest growing area of spending in the budget is us paying the interest on the debt that they accumulated over almost a decade. So the best thing they could do, Mr Speaker, is instead of railing with all this fake indignation about the circumstances that they gave to us, is to do the right thing and come together as the rest of Australia does as we try and fix the mess that we've inherited.